Welcome back to Hoaglandia Endfield gamers. Today's video is going to be helping you get your power grid report up to snuff. In the video description down below, I've got blueprint codes for making green, blue, and purple batteries. Make sure you hang out through the video so we can walk you through what you're supposed to be piping in to the various inputs to get these working and explain how the entire system works. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well to get other depot build guides like this one, as well as team roundups and other character breakdowns and everything Arknights Endfield related. Before we dive into the specifics, you're going to make sure you have basic AIC level 2 packaging tech as well as power 1 unlocked. The packaging unit from this first one is what we use to actually produce the batteries, and then power 1 gives us the thermal banks that we're going to be feeding them into in order to generate energy for everything going on. Thermal banks are the places we're going to be getting our extra power production from, and there are 4 different options you can feed into them when starting off. You have iridium ore that you can put in directly, generating 50 power for 8 seconds for 1 ore, and then the batteries generate increasingly larger amounts of power for 40 seconds per battery, starting at 220 for greens, jumping up to 420 blaze it for blue, and 1100 for a single purple battery. The packaging unit produces all 3 of these batteries depending on what inputs we're piping into it, ranging from amethyst and iridium powder out of a shredder for green, all the way up to steel parts and dense iridium powder for the purple at the top. Making green batteries is relatively straightforward. This fairly simple blueprint is linked in the video description down below, containing just 8 buildings and a single power pylon that reaches them all. While these green batteries need only 2 inputs to get generated, we should note that they need twice as much iridium ore as they do amethyst parts. So we're going to want 2 of these shredding units going on the side with iridium ore feeding into them in order to be producing batteries without downtime at maximum efficiency. Our third input down here is amethyst ore, which gets refined and then fitted to give us the part that we need to make the battery. Now, the batteries get produced 1 every 10 seconds, and our thermal banks down here burn that battery for 40 seconds. This means, in theory, a single packaging unit operating at maximum efficiency can power 4 individual banks with these batteries. In this particular blueprint, I have half that many banks set up, along with a protocol stash stashing half of the batteries that you have going. This means you can use them to generate extra T-bills by selling them to outposts, but if you find yourself needing more power for your outposts overall, you can swap this protocol stash out for 2 more thermal banks and still have them operating at 100% efficiency with this blueprint design. As you'll see from the blueprint here in a second, making blue batteries is very similar to green, but they notably do need ferrarium ore as their component as opposed to amethyst, meaning you need to have AIC 3 unlocked along with mining 3 so you can get those electric mining rigs part 2 to actually pull the ferrarium out of the ground. To get blue batteries produced at maximum efficiency, we need 5 outputs from our depot, 3 iridium ore and 2 ferrarium. This is because we have a ratio of 2 ferrarium parts to 3 iridium ore, as opposed to the 1:2 ratio that we had with amethyst to iridium at the green stage. This means 3 of our depot unloaders are going to be using the iridium and 2 are using the ferrarium. We feed the ferrarium into refining and then fitting, and then it drops into the packaging unit, which, very similar to the green battery, is going to produce 1 per 10 seconds, and these thermal banks still charge on 1 per 40 seconds, so a single packaging unit is still able to go ahead and put out maximum output for 4 thermal banks. Similar to earlier, depending on what your power output needs are when you put this unit together, you can replace some or all of these thermal banks even with protocol depot storage things, so you can be selling those for T-builds to your outposts. Purple batteries is where things really start to get more complicated from a factory perspective. So if you want to dig into understanding why this is working the way it does, buckle up. But don't worry if you're just here for the blueprints and want to set them up. I'm going to walk you through what you need to start, beginning with the grinding station here unlocked in your basic AIC 3. To get purple batteries producing out of our packaging unit at maximum efficiency, we need a whopping 12 inputs to get everything put together. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 parts ferrarium ore. We're going to have 2 parts sandleaf flowers, and then we're going to have 6 parts, the other half of it, iridium ore, pumping all out at the same time. One saving grace to this entire setup that actually makes us not need even more depot outputs is the fact that our shredding units, when we input those sandleaf flowers into them, produce up to 3 powders per 1 sand leaf. This means we can have a single shredding unit in this instance turn a flower into enough powder for our 2 grinding units here combined with the ferrarium, and we have a singular second shredding unit taking those sand leaf flowers, pumping into 1, 2, 3 grinding units over here with the iridium ore, and this gives us the 5 grinding units going that we need in order to get to that 2 parts steel part and 3 parts dense iridium cubes that we have to bake the batteries. In order to get from ferrarium parts to steel, after we grind that up with the sand leaf powder, we go ahead and feed them back into refining and then finally a packaging unit to get those steel parts, and then these 2 steel parts along with the dense iridium cubes all eventually funnel back down into the packaging unit where all our batteries have been made before. These also have the same timing ratios as the batteries before it, meaning a single packaging unit is enough to power 4 thermal banks or 2 thermal banks plus stashing half of the batteries you're producing. So decide exactly how much power you need and decide exactly how many you're stashing and how many you're using to keep all your operations going. The astute among you who looked at the blueprint before getting this far in the video noted that there's also a 4th one down there for self-sustaining seed production. This is because while you're producing all of these batteries, while your outposts constantly need power, you don't want to be picking all of these sand leaf flowers by hand. This seed production blueprint utilizes 3 buildings plus a way to stash them back into your depot to have a self-sustaining infinite seed production. The key to this is the seed picking unit, which takes a single plant of any type and turns it into 2 seeds, which you then can feed into 2 planting units to make 2 new plants from that seed, allowing you to have 1 go back into the seed picking unit and 1 get stored into your protocol stash. So if you're using that purple battery blueprint that needs 2 of these sand leaf flowers inputs to be grinding up to actually make the batteries, you're going to need 2 of these seed production setups to make sure that you have enough flowers going in order to keep grinding them up for your battery production line, in addition to all the minerals you're mining out of the ground. Hopefully you had at least half as much fun watching this breakdown as I did building it all live on stream. Make sure you subscribe to the channel or drop by at twitch.tv/Jeff Hoagland for my Arknights Endfield live streams that I'll be doing in the mornings, Monday through Friday, typically US time. As far as where you're going to go ahead and position these, I have mine in my science park for my big one here. It takes a whopping 12 inputs like we talked about. You can get exactly 13 across here when it's fully done, and there's even room for you to go ahead and put one or two of your seed packaging things in here, and I have several more of those set up at another one of my AIC locations, keeping them all kind of centralized. I'm trying to compartmentalize what's being produced where, with this being my primary power and another one being seeds, and then other things that I'm building being scattered all about through the other ones. I appreciate everybody made it all the way through to the end of the video. If you want more content covering Arknights Endfield here, make sure you give this video a like and are subscribed to the channel. I'd also love to hear in the comments down below what you thought of the format of this guide. Are there ways I could do it better or key information that you think I left out so I can improve these in the future? Would love to hear about it. Thanks for staying through to the end, and hopefully we'll see you back again real soon.